to be back to this town and to this group. I enjoy a lot your company, and I share a lot of memories from Holstein and all the surrounding towns. And I was, happy when Linda sent me an invitation. I brought my son with me, and I brought a computer, and then I will have the computer there, and you will see pictures of our, some members of our class, and also part of my family in Costa Rica, my children, my husband, my grandchildren, and also I have some pictures of the Hemmer family, I think. So,
all right, yeah.
I don't want to be too long talking and talking, but I will have it there.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Who wants to follow that after, but nothing but a special guest, Mr. David Ditter.
Yeah.
I want to speak long. Okay. Look at my notes. Thank you so much for the invitation. One of the problems for me is the fact that I go to quite a few high school reunions. I sort of guesstimated at about 120 I've attended in the last 50 years.
Yay.
So my problem is, did I talk about this at your reunion last year? Or did I talk about this at last year's reunion? Some of you were there, and that type of thing. What did he say?
He said he was implying that some of us wouldn't remember anyway. Some of us.
This is getting to be like a bad study. But anyway, so what am I going to talk to you about, that you'd want to hear? Probably you'd want me to sit down right now. But I thought I'd do something a little different. Okay, Wayne, would you stand up, please?
Anytime.
This is sort of a mini roast of Wayne, okay?
We didn't work this out, did we?
It's just one story. I imagine everyone here knows Wayne. If you don't, you're in trouble.
Class of 64.
And you know what a great guy he is, and he's done all these wonderful things. He worked for IBM, did all those things, and now he's getting his PhD, and he's been a mentor for me for years for our graduates that go to the University of Minnesota, and I could go on and on and on, sickeningly so. But I want to tell you a story about him that I really like, okay? And this goes back to when he was about 10 or 11 years old. Lived in New Holstein around the Monroe, Prospect, Van Buren.
My Cindy Hibbert days.
Park Street. Cindy, we don't want to hear those stories.
You've done your Disney bombs and all that shit. He wouldn't go around pushing up a gallon of that.
You wouldn't remember, but that's the Cockney girl from My Fair Lady.
Oh yeah, no, I know that one.
I said Cockney, by the way. Anyway, so Wayne's 10, 11, 12 years old, somewhere in there. And they have a big gang of people. Someone told me, Bob Heft told me that they used to have so many kids down there, a lot of good Catholic families, lots of kids. And
That was the Spears.
Hey, Cindy, that's part of my story. So anyway, wait. Hey, it's my turn. Cindy, Wayne, who am I talking about? Wayne had his whole gang of guys. He was sort of the gang leader in those days, 10 years old, 11 years old. They're all sitting on or standing or whatever. They have their bicycles, whatever, on the corner, somewhere around Prospect or whatever. And along comes this kid who graduated in 1965 by the name of Danny Steer. They had just moved into town from the farm, and you're just moving in, you don't know anyone. comes up to Wayne and the gang, and Wayne looks at him and says to all his buddies, "Who's that dumb shit?" So you think he's a nice guy?
Actually, I think it was, "Who's that dumb shit?" And he looks like an asshole. I think.
No, we didn't talk that way at
I
10.
didn't want to. And you know that dummy turned out to be a lawyer and big wheel in the veterans in the state of Wisconsin. So Wayne's a real good judge of character. So anyway, I need to tell you about something that I think is very interesting, and you might be interested in. But I have to read a little bit of it because it's all about PDFs and stuff, and I don't even know what that means. But Bob Doister Bob Heff, Carol's brother, Carol's brother, and a lot of other kids, Heffs, did a project which I'm having an article in the paper next week, I think. And I just want to read it to you, and then I want you to support him, okay? And this is the article. Over the past several months, Bob Doister Heff, class of 64, has taken on a unique personal project. Bob wanted to create electronic copies of 25 old high school yearbooks. The effort included consolidating all new Holstein High School Argonauts from 1946, that was the first yearbook, to 1970, because his brother Tom was through the class of 1970, and have them professionally scanned and converted to PDF files. Bob and his brothers and sisters had most of the hard copies of the yearbooks covering the years 46 to 70, from when the oldest sibling started kindergarten. In those days, they used to have the kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade in the yearbooks. I don't know if some of you remember that
Yeah.
at all. So he has electronic copies, PDF, allows for easy distribution among family and friends and long-term preservation of the content. The final product was in great detail and even done in color. He came over this summer and demonstrated this to me, and it's really interesting. The non-destructive professional scanning was done in full color grayscale 300 DPL, whatever that means, utilizing a search feature on the files. One can enter a name. You go to the 46 yearbook, put in the name. I think Mary Frisch was in that class. Put in the name, and it'll tell you every page in the yearbook that that person is on. So he has kept me up to date and in the loop while the project was in progress. He was over the summer, as I said, showed me. Anyone interested, and I think somewhere, Linda, where's Linda? You put Bob's name and address for them? You didn't do that.
I forgot about that. I have everyone's communications here.
Okay, she'll send you this information, but he has a DVD of the 25 scanned Argonauts, and he has an email address, which you were supposed to have somewhere.
Just write it on the blackboard.
Or a... we have whiteboards now. You're a little behind time. So anyway, I thought that would be of interest to you, and as soon as Linda forwards his information, he is asking for $25. He spent a lot of money having this done professionally, but it's really nifty, especially if you have relatives, brothers and sisters, some of these different classes and so on. You can go to all those yearbooks from 1946 through 1970. Okay? Now, what else was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to share with you, and maybe we could bow our heads. I know you've had a lot of deceased classmates and so on, and a number of classmates are very sick right now. But I thought I'd share with you the teachers that are deceased that you had in your 4 years of high school, and so I'll read their names. If you'd bow your head, please. Mr. Dosh, these are all deceased. Mr. Lynch, Mr. Hoyer, Miss Leonards, Miss Volstead, Mr. Firestein, Mr. Svetlik, Mr. Brandenstein, Mrs. Brandenstein, Mr. Grote, Mr. Gertner, Miss Rice, Mr. Haymar, Mr. Kettleson, Mr. Condon, and Mr. Belkey, all deceased. So time moves along, doesn't it? Okay, I have one other thing here, and I don't have a glass, but if you have a glass nearby, maybe you could raise it. I want to do a toast here, all right? I don't have a glass, but pretend I do. Okay, and this is my toast. Let us remember old familiar faces, smiling again down half-forgotten years. Shadows of laughter, friendships lasting graces, loves launched and lost. The team God has no peers. Out of the past and bearing no rejection, distance and time shall bridge this final toast. God bless you, my friends, in all your imperfections. Of life's good gifts, I counted this the most.
Hey.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much, Dave. And I think you need a Pat Shell Chumlada rum. I think for Dave over here for sure from that end. By the way, let me just say he's very, very, very particular about who he tells what to. So I've got a little story about Dave. What comes around goes around. You realize he and his wife been married, Judy. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but what a wonderful woman to have to put, 52 years wow. He's been married.
Yay!
Started teaching at Kiel High School in 1958, Army vet. Started in the Holstein in 1960. Retired in you retired. I've heard this story for about the last 15 years. The bottom line is he's taught 7 decades in the Holstein. He taught 1 year at St. Lawrence Seminary. How the hell did that happen? It's a rhetorical question. Jim Fiora, yeah, he received the first Cole Award, for teaching excellence, 1990. 1987, selected the Wisconsin State Teacher of the Year. Wow. Yay! Has been a municipal judge off and on since 1978. Don't speed through the Holstein or you got to He's written a column. Since 1980 or 1990. Whatever happened to a lot of people in here in this room. He's also got 3 sons, 4 grandkids, which is fantastic. Because for a while there, they were wondering. I remember those days, right? And it all came out. He was a skip director for us at the Mickey Mouse Club. And the senior class skip director right here is the guy got it off and running. And he's also published the book. If you haven't seen it, what is it, 8,000 to 9,000 names of all the Holstein High School students. If you haven't bought that baby, it's still on the New York Times bestseller list. No, seriously. Fantastic, David. Thank you very much. Give him a hand. Thank you very much. It just don't get any better. And when I go to the University of Minnesota,
it's free to everybody who attended, right?
It's free to everybody who attended. That's exactly right. I go to the University of Minnesota, dean of the Carlson School of Management, the business school up there.